Hey guys,
Hello, hello.
what is up? I'm
Long
Kelly
time no
Salmon
see.
Slippers Keen.
What'd you say?
I said I'm Kelly Salmon Slippers Keen.
I'm Jazzy forgot to have a nickname shamanic, but it'll come to me. Once we get to the point in the episode, it'll come to me and then I'll add it.
um, guys, I'm sorry. This is gonna be a little messy. I don't have much of a voice. Um, I apologize for our sudden absence. I've been going through some really nasty health issues, and I'm like, I have a feeling everyone's just gonna turn this episode off because they're gonna like not want to listen to my awful voice.
Your voice
Um,
sounds fine. Come on now.
but yeah, hey LP Punk. Um LP Punk, by the way, I thought your t-shirt was in the mail and I found out it's not and I didn't follow up on it. The order got canceled. I didn't follow up on it because of everything that's been going on, but now that I know that it's canceled and I'm getting back to work, I promise you it's going to be on the way. um but yeah, I learned something something really shocking over the past few weeks, and that is that a lot of Jazz, you mentioned that you had asthma as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I had asthma as a kid. I did not realize that childhood asthma, it doesn't go away.
Nope.
It like so many people are like, oh yeah, I had asthma as a kid and then never again. It's just dormant.
Mm-hmm.
um and I've had I've basically been walking pneumonia risk for the past few weeks because my asthma came back and I got bronchitis. Um, so I've been in absolute hell. I've been in and out of urgent care in the ER, getting pumped full of steroids. I feel like my face looks completely swollen right now just from like all the steroids that I've been on.
You look
Um,
lovely.
oh, thank you. I'm really trying to not like hack up a lung. I'm using a nebulizer. It's just, guys, I'm on so many drugs right now just to be able to like sit in front of the computer. It's a
I don't want
fucking
to let
mess.
Kelly take all the blame. I also somehow managed to pinch a nerve in my tailbone
Oh
and
god.
haven't been able to sit in like going on 3 weeks now. So it was literally at the same time you're like, I'm sick. I don't think I can make it this week. It was like, don't worry, because I can't move.
Oh man. The good
Yeah,
thing
it's
is the good thing on my end is I had a rough day. Like everything is so hard for me right now. Like I was in the pool for a little bit today, pulling the cover back over took everything out of me. And normally that's like no big deal. Um and like I didn't even get to really enjoy the pool. I did some exercises, but I couldn't even lay on my float because it's uncomfortable for me to lay on my back. Because it's hard for me to breathe.
mm-hmm.
But the it's been really, really scary. Like I've literally felt like I've been dying for the past few weeks. And like the doctors that I've seen have basically put the fear of God into me that like this is very serious. Um, but this morning I woke up feeling better than I have in a really long time. Um, so that's good. There's a
Thank
little bit of hope.
goodness. Yeah.
Like even a tiny bit of improvement is fantastic because I really don't want to get pneumonia and end up in the hospital.
No, that sounds horrible.
I know. And what's funny is I was telling Jazz that like I feel like Dexter is a curse for me. Um, for me and my lungs because this is going on right now and I had to bring this out. So this was a get a get well postcard that was sent to me by my coworker in 2013. Um, went during the last season of Dexter, and he was like my Dexter buddy, Joe. Joe Davis was my coworker's name. I was in the
That's
hospital
so
during
funny.
I was in the hospital during the series finale of Dexter, so I had to watch the series finale from the hospital after an awful car accident where I was like, I had like, severe pulmonary contusions from my car accident, so I
Jesus.
couldn't breathe there either. Yeah, the postcard's really cute. He drew a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and put a picture of Dexter on there and wrote "Get better or else." And then the the um the note on the postcard says, "Hey Kelly, hope you're doing okay. See you soon. We need to discuss that horrible Dexter finale, Joe."
I just got to experience it for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
awful.
I have a lot of feelings and most of them are bad.
Yes. We won't discuss it just in case
Yeah.
anybody watching is not caught up with the series. Did you get started on New Blood at all yet?
Yeah. I'm like
Oh,
3
okay.
episodes in.
You're 3 episodes in?
Yeah.
What do you think of Harrison?
Honestly, I think that my expectations were so low that I ended up enjoying the show way more than I thought I was going to. Like I had a
Really?
blast watching it. Yeah.
Awesome. What do you think of Harrison?
I think he's great.
Isn't he great?
Yeah. The
Like,
actor they picked is perfect. He also, like, not to jump ahead in the series, but not only does he look like he can be Rita and Dexter's actual kid, but he also looks like Zach, the murder son from
doesn't
season
he?
8. Yeah.
He looks just like him. Like,
I was
it
like,
freaks
that's
me
really
out.
good casting.
I had to do a double take the first time I saw him on the show. I was like, wait, that's Zach. I totally thought it was Zach.
Murder son,
Yeah.
as I've been calling him.
Yeah, like his character, like Harrison, the character is just such a little shit. Like you just want to kind of punch him in the face a little bit. But
Harrison.
like the actor is so good. He's so good.
His
I
problems are understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love how he calls how like I do love how much shit he gives Dexter. I think it's great. But anyway, I don't want to get too far ahead on that. So we're gonna have kind of an uncomfortable episode tonight, in addition to the reasons that I already mentioned. First of all, I want to say this: we're dedicating tonight's episode to Mikayla Raines, and I'm sorry, I'm getting my tissue out just in case I get emotional. If you guys, if you don't know who Mikayla Raines is, she ran Save a Fox. So I've been, my husband and I used to watch their YouTube videos all the time. They're an animal rescue. They don't just rescue foxes, but that's what they specialize in, is fox rescue. And she unfortunately passed away a couple of weeks ago from suicide after experiencing extreme harassment. And she was neurodivergent, and she also had various mental health issues that made her vulnerable to that kind of reaction. And it's a tragedy. I mean, this woman was only 31 years old and did so much amazing work for animals. And she had a husband and a young daughter, and I just it's just awful. And they were still going even after the announcement that she took her life. They were still going. The harassers were still going.
It's so disgusting.
I know. And unfortunately, this is something that's kind of close to my heart because I was a big supporter of them, and I just I loved their videos. But, you know, this is something that I actually survived myself not all that long ago, because of harassment.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm lucky that I survived, I guess. But you know, it's terrible to think that like this happened to me and then this happens to her. She doesn't survive this. How many other people does this happen to? And how many of them are children?
Oh my god, I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. But like, they've done studies on how much Instagram and other, social media apps are harming children, and like, it has to be a significant number.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
like, people are so cruel. It makes
Seriously.
no sense.
Now I actually used to work in animal rescue, so I kind of understand a little bit of what was happening. Um, there's a lot of there's a lot there are a lot of really cruel people, unfortunately, that work in animal rescue that like to
That's
go
true.
after other animal rescuers. Um, she was being judged for animals dying from preventable illnesses. Well, you know what? She runs a rescue. Like she like they don't get enough funds. Animals in rescues die from preventable diseases all the time
Every
because
day.
it's not their fault. Like they're trying to save them. They can only do what they have the resources to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it, it's just terrible that this happened. You know, in my case it was I've taken a lot of heat from people that like because I haven't gotten all too specific about the hatred that I've dealt with. So I've taken a lot of shit from people about like, well, you know, you shouldn't be a content creator if you don't want to deal with the hatred. I'm not talking about people saying they don't like my voice or they think I'm a shitty podcaster or they think I'm fat or ugly or
We
dumb.
laugh too much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't care. That shit doesn't get to me. I don't give a shit. I'm talking about people actually spreading rumors about me, inappropriately contacting minors, um, telling me to kill myself, um, getting getting interviews with cast members that we were supposed to interview from Yellow Jackets because they presented themselves as the Antler Queens. Um, getting emails from networks threatening me for doing things that I never did because these people that have been harassing me have been contacting networks and everybody. I've had friends just go from supporting me like crazy through everything I had been through to just blocking me on everything and completely ghosting me overnight without an explanation. Collaborators, same thing. Like at one point, the Antler Queens was going to have a regular feature on salon.com interviewing Yellow Jackets cast members every week. That didn't happen because of the harassment. Like it's getting, you know, interfering with my fundraiser. I'm disabled. I'm in legislated poverty. I don't I don't spend money on myself. I need to most disabled people, most people who are on disability have to fundraise just to live. Um and you know, I stopped getting donations because people were contacting everybody that I talked to online to tell them that I wasn't disabled. I didn't have health issues and this was all a scam. Um just so like this isn't, you know, you're a shitty podcaster or you're ugly and I hate your voice. This is really serious stuff and um that's why I'm a survivor of a suicide attempt. And I'm glad that I'm here that I can talk about this. I just wish that Mikayla was. And you know,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the harassment continues to this day, and I'm still vulnerable. I do what little I can to protect myself, and that's why we don't have more of a social media presence. Um, but it's a daily struggle, and it depresses me because my husband used to live stream Hearthstone, and there's a lot of kids in the gaming community. And some of the stuff that he would tell me, I would break down in tears, like of the way kids would be affected by some of the treatment they'd encounter online. And, it's just nobody should have to deal with this. Nobody. I don't care if it's a child or an adult or no one. No one should have to deal with that. And let me tell you, I don't know if this was the case with Mikayla, but if you are experiencing extreme mental distress from being harassed and you make it known to the people harassing you what they are doing to your mental health and that you are in danger of hurting yourself and they continue, that is called intentional infliction of emotional distress, and it can carry severe legal consequences. The only reason that my harassers haven't experienced those consequences is because I can't afford to sue them. I can't afford to take them to court. Otherwise, it would have happened. But yeah,
We'll get there.
I hope.
It'll happen.
I hope. But in the meantime, just don't watch their content, please. If you're on Reddit, yeah. If you're on Reddit, stick to the Yellow Jackets subreddit. Do not use that other Yellow Jackets subreddit. That's not official. Because the person who runs it is one of the people who did that to me. So yeah, it
continues to.
And continues to this day. Yes.
It's insane. But, how far do you have to remove yourself? No, anyway, sorry. No, I'm so mad.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. And to see this wonderful person lose that fight is,
I know,
devastating.
And she has a 3-year-old daughter. And
yeah, is that worth all your shitty fucking comments that this 3-year-old is gonna have to go through the world without her mother because you wanted to call her a fat whore or whatever, or jump on and scream the N-word at people or whatever? Yeah. Is that worth your actions now that you've created an orphan? Cool. Yeah. I hope you're real proud of yourself.
It's fucking detestable. But please, I highly encourage anybody who wants to support Save a Fox. Her husband is going to try to keep it going. They need a lot of support though. I mean, this was her baby. And the website is saveafox.org. So please go there if you can spare anything. There's a donation link. It would really mean a lot if you could just throw some support their way. I want to share just a funny story. One of my favorite videos that I've ever seen on YouTube was a Save a Fox video, and it was they had this fennec fox named Finnegan, and I think it was Finnegan that did this. He was sitting on her head, and she was talking to the camera, and he starts peeing on her head.
Oh,
that was not even the best part. I mean, that was hilarious. And she's just cracking up. Right after he pees on her head, he starts kicking his leg.
To bury it. In her hair. That's so funny.
It's one of my favorite YouTube moments ever.
I love that. I love that they posted that too, because so many people online only show the positives and the, like, you know, cute, clean side of animal husbandry.
Yes.
And there's a lot of poops and peas and other little things that come along
Exactly.
with it.
So the other thing that I want to bring up really quick is, you know, we're doing the 12 Days of Dexter right now. So what we've been doing is taking down our lives after we do them and then re-uploading them. We have the first 2 days up. So we're doing a new video. We're basically re-uploading our lives every day until the premiere of Dexter Resurrection. So if you miss our lives, you may have to wait a few days to see it again, but it will be reposted, and there'll be a different video every day until then. But tonight we are discussing episodes 7 and 8, Circle of Friends and Shrink Wrap. I want to try to get through Circle of Friends as quickly as possible because I have some words to share about Shrink Wrap.
Yeah. Circle of Friends is all set up too.
What's that?
I said Circle of Friends is almost all set up for the next episode anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But Shrink Wrap is actually very topical, especially if you live in Canada. And you may already know what I'm talking about, but if we'll get there. But I'm gonna have some words to say about the episode and why, if Dexter lived in Canada, he would be extremely busy. Circle of Friends, the 7th of 12 episodes in season 1. And this is the synopsis is Rita must deal with the return of her menacing, recently paroled husband, Paul Bennett. The ice truck killer is supposedly identified, but Dexter is skeptical. I do want to mention that the actors that play Paul and Neil Perry did actually work together before on something else, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. But this is the first time that we saw Paul, right?
Yeah. Or no, it was the last episode.
Oh, last episode. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. What do you think of Paul? Well, obviously he's a scumbag, but I mean,
yeah,
like, I thought his character was really well written.
Yeah.
And I think the actor is phenomenal.
He's perfectly cast.
Yeah.
He is perfectly cast.
I mean, it's not all that often that you see an abuser played so kind of accurately.
Yeah, like he does both sides. Like he's obviously terrifying and horrible to Rita, but he also has that like charming, like affable nature that like you understand how he got away with it for so long. The actor's great. They really did a knock out of the park job casting that guy because he's not just menacing all the time, like, you know.
Yeah,
Why
he's
would
super
you be with
charming.
him? Yeah.
Like you see him with his kids and you're like, you know, it's I feel like if he was a real person and most people saw him like with his kids, they'd be like, oh wow, what a great guy. There's no way he could ever hurt anybody.
Exactly.
You know, and
100%.
I think they did a really great job both with the character and with and with the casting.
I think this actually is the first time we see him. I think he's just on the phone in the last episode.
Oh yeah, that sounds
I think you're right.
Yeah. I've only read the first of the Dexter books, Darkly Dreaming Dexter, and he's only mentioned. He's only talked about there.
Oh wow.
But so we don't really get to know him. So he's kind of you know, he's really kind of more written for the show. And I mean, it's the same thing. Like except he was even worse in the book. But I think he was in prison pretty much the whole time. Like I don't like Dexter, like the narration just talked about him, you know, when it talked about Rita and her
Interesting.
kids. Yeah. But I love the opening scene of this episode.
Mm.
I think the cinematography is so great. Marcus Siega, he's done a lot of the cinematography on Dexter, and he's fantastic. Hey, Fowl, good to see you.
Okay.
But you know, we just see Dexter. It's really dramatic. You know, you just see Dexter like in this with this dark background, and he's just like, you know,
Yeah.
what did Dokes call it? His knife / two-step.
Yeah.
And speaking of Dokes, and meanwhile Dexter is giving a voiceover about how many serial killers there are in Miami, and you know they don't get together for conventions. But and then, you know, speaking of Dokes, we get him asking Dexter if he's getting a hard on. Oh my god.
Dokes never lays off.
I know.
Like, he's never said anything
But
pleasant to Dexter so far.
Right? Yeah.
Not
exactly.
one time.
But he there's a kid, there's a dead kid. And Dexter is basically like trying to, you know, recreate the slashing in his mind. And the kid is breathing, first of all. But he's a kid, so, you know,
Yeah.
I'll go easy on him.
Those scenes are so hard to shoot. It's so hard to shoot stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's very sad. It's, you know, dead kid. And Dexter realizes that he's seen these kinds of slash marks before, and it was very skilled. Every slash hit a major artery, or at least came close. And so you see the wheels turning in his head already. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We then get Deborah and Angel, who think that they've identified the ice truck killer. As Neil Perry, who we previously saw come into Miami Metro as a witness.
Yeah.
And apparently he's a taxidermist who has a history of mental illness and violence, and they find his name in the database for moving violations. Deborah gets this idea because that's how they track down Timothy McVeigh. I don't think that's exactly how they track down Timothy McVeigh.
It's close, but
yeah,
not really.
Yeah, I knew it was close, but yeah, I think it was a bit different.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly. But like I think he got pulled over or something, and then like they ended up getting him on something else minor, and then that's how they got him. But anyway, they end up driving out to he had two moving violations. His moving violations. That wasn't the end of it. They were near two of the crime scenes, which is kind of a big red flag.
Yeah.
You know, like, why is this dude...
Why are you driving so fast? Away from the crime zone.
Yeah. So obviously they're like, oh, okay, well, this guy was clearly chopping up hookers. So
stands to reason.
Yeah. So they go out to his address, and he lives in a trailer, and Deborah's being, you know, judgmental Deborah. Like, geez, man.
I know that bothered me.
I know.
I literally just moved out of a trailer.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Just like, who in their... And honestly, I don't disagree. Who in their right mind would live there? But
yeah,
sometimes that's all you got, man. This doesn't make you a murderer.
I'm glad Angel made her feel bad about it.
Yeah. Some
'Cause
classist shit, Deborah.
yeah. Yeah. Because, that was Angel and his wife Nina's first home was a trailer. So yeah, stop being judgmental, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's a shithole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is definitely looks like a murder trailer.
It does look like a murder
To be
trailer.
fair.
The windows are covered up with newspapers. It's completely unkempt. It's not good. And they find a wood paneled station wagon that matches the description of the car that Cherry had gotten into before she was murdered. They then see a security camera, so they kind of Angel knocks on one of the doors and Dub goes around to another one. And then we see Perry crawling out
From
from
under the trailer.
I know.
Oh.
And he
Clever.
pops through tire and then gets away. Back at the lab, we see Dexter matching photos of the knife wounds on the dead kid Jason to he matches him up to Jeremy's first victim, and he's suddenly regretting not killing Jeremy when he had the chance, despite that Jeremy's kid.
Right?
Like,
Who's also a child.
I know. It's just, not excusing him for being a murderer, but it just doesn't seem to fit the code. I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird that he gets
Especially
to like season 6 before he's like, maybe people can change.
especially when you think about like Dexter's connection to kids too,
Mm-hmm.
Like it just doesn't make sense to me that he'd want to kill Jeremy. I don't know.
Me neither.
So Rita arrives arrives at her kid's school in her stylish convertible that's still being borrowed from evidence. And I have to laugh. Oh, hey, Kaiwan. Really quick. Yeah, Kaiwan also has another vote for season 8 of Dexter being ridiculous. Yes. Yeah, I don't know that anybody liked Dexter season 8. Jennifer Carpenter was like the saving grace of the season. Like, she was so great.
Yeah, it hurt me.
Yeah.
You know what is funny about season 8 and actually 7 too, but I mentioned this last time that they really work hard to make it look like Miami in the first several seasons. Like you don't see, oh my god, I hit my mic, sorry. You don't see any classic LA landmarks in those early seasons. By season 8, the opening episode of season 8, they're at Echo Park Lake, which is like the most, you can see where they CGI'd out the swans. Like it's like they are in like, they're just in like the Santa Monica Promenade. Like they're in just like very classically Los Angeles places that they drive by the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia building.
Wow.
I'll have to mark it down when it happens, but I was like,
Oh my
this is
gosh.
silly. They really gave up trying to make it look like Miami at some point.
Speaking of, Sunny is starting too.
I know. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's gonna be sad without Charlie's mom though.
I know.
It's so
She did
sad.
record. She recorded a couple episodes.
Oh, did she?
So she'll be,
Oh,
she'll
wow.
be in it this year,
Yeah.
but no more after that.
Taiwan, to answer your question, Dexter Resurrection starts July 11th. So we're doing the 12 days of Dexter until then. We're not doing lives every week. We're doing hopefully doing 2 lives this week and probably next week. And then that'll be it. I think, right? Yeah. But we're uploading our former lives, so we will have a new Dexter episode on our channel every day. So please, we could definitely use your support for that, because like we have no Dexter audience yet. So the 2 videos that are up there now are like the lowest viewed videos in the history of the channel. So we could really use some likes and some shares and some comments. That would help us out tremendously, especially if we want to try to get interviews with cast members and all that. But so anyway, Rita shows up at the kids' school to pick up her kids. And I just had to laugh at the way she was like, she said to the guy, she's like, "You gave my kids to Paul? Are you stupid?"
Right.
That cracked me up.
Nobody told me.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, guy.
And, but so yeah, the kids aren't there. Paul came and got them like the jackass he is. And so then
So trying to do something super fun, like a classic shitty dad.
right. So then we get the cops at Neil Perry's place. And what was funny is Angel orders everybody to follow strict sterile protocol to avoid contamination. And they're literally all just wearing thin latex gloves, like no coveralls or
no hair tied back.
Right?
Nothing. It drives me nuts.
It's so funny. Like strict sterile protocol. Yeah, that doesn't exactly look like strict sterile protocol to me.
No.
But I actually was a little surprised at Deborah getting overly excited. Like, the guy's a taxidermist, and they find files about dismemberment and news articles about the ice truck killer. And she's like, "We got this guy." I'm like, and Angel brings up that it's circumstantial evidence. I'm like, yeah.
It's not even evidence.
It's what?
It's not even evidence. You couldn't.
It's not. It's nothing.
Yeah. He was reading about this famous case that's in the news right now. He's the murderer.
Right.
This is also where Masuka made the joke that finally made me just be like, I'm done with this character.
Oh God, yes. And you know what made me so mad about it is that it immediately, his comment immediately followed like a great line delivery from Jennifer Carpenter. She was like, "Can I have permission to run Masuka's prints?"
This is the ice truck killer. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was a great delivery. And then he's like, "No need, I could give you some warm DNA right now." I'm like,
that was it. I was like, done with Masuka.
Yeah,
he's dead to me forever.
Oh,
not really. He gets better later on, but that made I for sure for the rest of season 1, I was like, I don't want to hear anything else you have to say.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh man, little scientists. But sorry, that's like one of my favorite lines. But so anyway, we then see Rita. Okay. Rita, I'm like hot and cold with Rita. Like, I have all the sympathy in the world for her character. And I'm a domestic violence survivor too. So like I can relate to that. Not intimate partner violence, but domestic violence. But it's like sometimes I feel like she's done such a great job of like being a great mom despite all this, and and being really strong and just like wanting to be independent. And so I kind of hate it when she just seems overly emotionally dependent on Dexter. I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think that's who she is. And so it just kind of like, but at the same time, I understand it because she hasn't had that. And
Yeah.
Dexter's willing to give her that. So why
She's
wouldn't
using him
she?
as a
Why?
bit of a crutch right now.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which, I mean, I could totally understand. Like, she hasn't had
Mm-hmm.
that. She has the opportunity to have that. Who wouldn't want that, you know? But at the same time, it just like I know that she doesn't need it because she's so strong, you know? Um, but she's obviously upset about Paul. Um, and what's funny is that like when Dexter is comforting her, he says they're there. And there's a really funny part in the book where it's not the exact I can't remember exactly what's happening, but it's something Rita's upset about something. And Dexter's like trying to figure out how to comfort her and he's like, "Should I say they're there? I hear people say that a lot." So it's pretty funny.
There. That's
Yeah.
funny.
But so Paul finally comes in and with the kids and he he's scoping out Dexter. Um Later on, Rita and Dexter are sitting on the couch massaging each other's feet, which I could have skipped that scene.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You touch my feet, you lose a hand, okay? Unless you're like a professional. I could deal with that.
See, this bothered me. I've finished this season now, Kaiwan, and I think that's retconned. I think he really was in love with Rita. Like he didn't trust Rita. He knew he couldn't let be his full self with Rita, but he was in love with her.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um he didn't want to be. That was not the plan. He never thought he would be. But I mean, I think as bad as Dexter got in the later seasons, I think that his character arc, other than, the parts that were kind of retconned, I think his character arc was a pretty consistent gradual buildup.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rita is basically what started him down this path of destruction, of
Right, yeah.
self-destruction.
Trying to
He
have
fell in love.
a second life.
Yeah.
Non-murder life.
He was always dedicated to preserving preserving this secret, his secret killer self, and not letting anything compromise that. And then he eventually fell for Rita and needed to have more and started pursuing it. And it eventually and I don't want to give spoilers for New Blood, but I'm going to try not to do that, but especially since you haven't seen it. But it gets really it reaches the ultimate. Dexter is like past the point of no return. He's fully gone.
Oh wow.
Because of his son.
Yeah.
Because he was like, love destroys Dexter, and Dexter genuinely loves his son. And it made him do something really fucking terrible in New Blood.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm only
really
on
fucking
3.
terrible. Yeah, I won't I don't worry, I won't spoil it. But and I'm wondering what's gonna happen with that in Resurrection, because there's gotta be a reckoning for it. But yeah, it's really bad. But it's like the worst thing he's ever done.
Oh boy.
And not something that you would ever expect him to do. And which says a lot, considering that when we see him at the beginning of New Blood, he hadn't killed anybody in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nuts. But yeah, like he was smart to try to he was smart to try to stay away from Hannah and Harrison. It was the right decision. But anyway, so yeah, they're massaging each other's feet and they're talking about, um Dexter tells Rita that he has a dark side and she giggles. Did you think he was about to spill something to her?
No. I
Yeah.
didn't think he was in any danger of that, but I thought that was funny. It reminded me of when I interviewed Melanie Linsky and asked her about her husband on Yellow Jacket's dark side, and she's like, I don't think he has a dark side. And I was like, I don't have time to rebut your your question, but he definitely does.
Yeah. But really quick, Taiwan is not a fan of the prequel series. I love the prequel.
I haven't seen it yet.
There's mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. I actually love it. But it's a very different vibe. It's a lot campier. And I love it.
That's good news.
Yeah.
I like camp.
New Blood is dark. New Blood is very dark. But so anyway, Dexter's on his day off and he goes back to the halfway house and learns from another kid that Jeremy's basically been selling himself in Flamingo Park. And he gets a call from Deborah, who calls him to Neil Perry's house. And he shows up, and he's very disappointed if this is in fact the ice truck killer, because this is not who he imagined his playmate to be. But they're excavating and they find a human skeleton buried with amputated limbs, and it turns out to be Neil Perry's mother. They're back in the briefing, and we learn that Neil Perry was collecting his mom's Social Security checks after she died to keep it quiet, and that she used to abuse him, and that he probably killed her to get away, to get out from under her thumb. Watching the scene with Dexter in Flamingo Park cracked me up after watching season 3 with the scene where he's in the bar with Miguel, and he's like, I told him to be subtle, and he shows up looking like the Unabomber, which Dexter totally looks like in this scene.
100%.
But he's following Jeremy, and then Dokes comes out of nowhere and knocks Dexter down and like looks back at him. But later on, I mean, there's no indication that he thought he recognized him or anything. Did you get any kind of like...
I thought that was weird. I was like, what are they trying to imply here? But then nothing ever came of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so they arrest Jeremy. And after Dokes knocks Dexter to the ground. Fortunately, like, his sunglasses didn't come off or anything, and that would have been really, really awkward.
Guys.
Yeah. Suddenly Dokes realizes that Dexter's following Jeremy to the mangroves. Like,
yeah, not a good look.
Yeah. But Dokes then confronts Dexter, and he's like, yeah, you were right.
Why are you always right about serial killers?
Right? And
I love Dokes.
I do
He's
too.
my favorite character at this point.
I do too. He's supposed to be in Resurrection. He's supposed to show up. Go Stokes. So,
Go
I'm looking forward to that.
Stokes.
Yeah.
Go
Um,
Stokes.
but yeah, he reminds Dexter that he's watching him. Later on, Angel and Deborah track Perry down to I think it was the Pink Motel, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the woman, Lorena, I think her name was, who's the manager. I loved her. Like, she just had such a short little scene, but I loved her.
That hotel is right down the street from me.
Yeah.
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 Like
I know it's a filming
10
set.
minutes.
Like, it's not an actual motel anymore. They just like
Oh,
rent it out for filming.
yeah. They use it as like base camps and stuff too for like
Gotcha.
film crews and production offices and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But
But
yeah,
it is.
she was great. She's like, you're like, does this guy look familiar? She's like, I don't know. They come, they go, get it. So she was so funny. I just loved her attitude, and like, I thought she was great. But they find out that um, Neil Perry is there at the moment. Like, he rents by the month or by the week, she said, and he had a girl there, like, at that time. So they go to his room and they find a working girl tied up in her silver Rocky Horror shorts. Sorry, like, Rocky actually wore gold shorts, but like, that's all when I saw her, I don't know why that's the first thing that my mind went to. But especially since she was blonde.
It makes sense.
But yeah, she was looking rough. She was tied up and had a ball gang in her mouth and was bleeding from her head. I mean, he fucked her up.
Yeah.
And so fortunately they get to her and she tells them that he's on his way back from the liquor store. So they put the ball gag back in her mouth and wait for him to show up. And when they arrest him, when they finally arrest him, he just breaks out into a hymn, which was really odd. And it was really distracting for me because I'm a singer, and all I kept thinking was, this guy is singing terribly, but oh my god, he's got a great vibrato. I'm like, I think this guy can actually sing and is pretending that he can't. So I'm like, that vibrato is fucking amazing.
I feel like they usually do that. Like,
Yeah.
cast good singers and then just make them sing flat.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
I was like, I keep wanting to, I always forget, but I keep wanting to look him up to see if he's online singing anywhere or whatever. Cause I just like, that vibrato is just like, whoo. I mean,
I bet he's a theater guy.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not enjoying the way this guy is singing right now. But I bet I could enjoy him some other time. But yeah, so they arrest him and he seems very happy about it. Then we flash to Rita's house and Paul is showing up. And oh, this pissed me off so much. Like, fucking boundaries, man. And you know, fortunately Dexter tells him he's not comfortable letting him in, and just like, Paul almost punches him and Dexter just does not even flinch.
He's like, give me an excuse to wrap you in plastic.
Right. Yeah,
it bothers me that Paul isn't enough to make the code.
I know. But he gets a visit later on at his motel room from Rita, who promises that if he signs the divorce papers, then they can start talking about, if he can handle supervised visits for 6 months and sign the divorce papers, then she'll consider unsupervised supervision. Which, come on, that's a kidnapping waiting to happen.
Yep.
Like, from what we've
Trust
seen,
me.
from
Someone who knows.
Oh God. I mean, from what we've seen, he seems to really not be likely to beat on his kids.
No, he seems to, at least Cody, he seems to really care about his kids.
But
he's
totally gonna kidnap them if he gets a chance.
You also just like people who abuse their spouses, even if they don't abuse their kids, like they're always looking for someone to abuse, and there's no chance that he's got those two kids alone and he's taking care of them full time, and they're giving them their little kid demands, that he doesn't start abusing them.
Yeah, for sure. Or what if, I mean, I'd be terrified of Aster bringing home a boyfriend when she gets older. I mean, that would be scary.
And Aster already doesn't like him, so she's gonna sass off to him or something, and then he's gonna wring her neck.
Right.
That's what I'd be afraid of.
But by the way, I forgot to mention, so my nickname today, Salmon Slippers, it comes from, when Paul enters the house uninvited and he brings flowers for Rita and donuts, and he's wanting to make breakfast for the kids. He's being all goofy with the kids, and he's like, "I like meat on my feet. It's real squishy." And then we see Cody putting strips of bacon across his foot, which is fucking hilarious. But I made my nickname Salmon Slippers because when I was in the hospital during season 8 of Dexter, I was on Dilaudid, on heavy doses of Dilaudid, which made me fucking crazy.
For sure.
I would just laugh, and it hurt to laugh. I would just laugh randomly at nothing. And I would say crazy shit. And I asked the nurse at one point, I'm like, "Can you give me my slippers, please?" And she's like, I didn't even have slippers with me. And she's like, she asked me what slippers. I'm like, "The salmon fillets that you wear on your feet."
That makes perfect sense.
She's like, "Okay, Kelly, go back to sleep." And then I think I told her that I was Popeye. I don't know. But so that's what the salmon slippers mean. Good night, Kaiwan. Thanks for joining us for a little bit. We appreciate it. But so at the hospital, they're having a little party for Tony Tucci, and Rudy asks Deborah out on a date. Bad news. Stay away, girl. Stay away.
Dude, I clocked him from the moment he showed up on camera.
Yeah.
I knew it. He's too creepy looking. Guy.
Oh my gosh. But we Jeremy Downs and Neil Perry are both being interrogated, and that's where we get the circle of friends comment, because Dexter is he's watching the cameras, and he's like, my circle of friends is now down to 2. And Neil Perry is being kind of a weirdo. But he mentions details from the case that were withheld. And so they're like, okay, there's no doubt that he's the ice truck killer.
Gotta be the ice truck killer.
Yeah.
The ITK, as they refer to him later.
Yes, exactly. And with Jeremy, Dexter actually confronts Jeremy in the interrogation room. And he tells him, he doesn't tell him that he kills people, but he tells him that, like, he doesn't feel anything. Like, he feels empty inside, like Jeremy. And Dexter basically tries to, like, give him a mini lesson in the code, and just tells him to, only kill people that deserve to die. But later he goes back and finds that Jeremy committed suicide. So, which Dexter decides, he took his advice and killed someone who deserved to die. That's kind of morbid.
Yeah, that's awful, actually.
Yeah, seriously.
He was a child.
I know. Deborah and Rudy are on their date, and they're talking about family, and Rudy mentions that his mother lost her legs in a car accident, and he wanted to put her back together like Humpty Dumpty, but the pieces weren't around, and that's why he became a prosthetist. And there's a tiny bit of truth.
Yes, she did lose her legs.
Yes, she did lose her legs. She lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But they end up kissing after this, which was really strange. I thought, I don't know. Apparently, talking about his mom losing her legs in a car accident and Deborah's mom dying from cancer got them all horned up.
Right? That was such a weird transition. Yeah, both of our moms are dead.
Yeah.
Weird.
We see not Captain Matthews's worst moment, but one of his worst. The guy is such a fucking dick to LaGuerta.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you, it doesn't justify it, but it kind of makes you understand why she's such a dick to Deborah.
Yeah.
And, like, he basically he thanks her, tells her, like, she made all their lives easier by getting him to confess, but he basically takes all the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And he already did the press conference, and she's like, did you give me credit at least? She's like, yes, I just did. Weren't you listening? Like, wow. Such a dick.
He's the worst.
I know. And the episode ends with Dexter, getting very disappointedly going to talk to Neil Perry. Very disappointed that this is his playmate, that this is his elusive playmate.
Mm-hmm.
And he had requested to see him, so he sits down. Neil walks into the room. Dexter greets him, and Neil Perry says, "Who the fuck are you?" And so Dexter just smirks. He's very happy because he realizes my guy is still out there.
Someone's still murdering.
So what did you? Exactly. All right. So what did you think of this episode overall?
This one was pretty slow. I liked it a lot more once I watched the next episode, because I feel like this one was all set up for the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of like Rita's outside of Rita's storyline, pretty much everything is just moving building blocks for the next episode. But it was good. It was well acted.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I give it like a 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably rate it somewhere around there too. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Just some little trivia. So while they were investigating Perry's mobile home, an excerpt from Norman Ornstein's score for American Psycho 2 is used.
Oh,
Did you? I actually saw American Psycho 2.
I did not.
It stars
Mila
Kunis.
Kunis? Yeah.
But and I looked up the Timothy McVeigh thing. He was caught because he was driving too fast out of town, is what they said in the show. But basically, the story is his car was stopped on I-35 by Oklahoma Highway Patrol because he was not displaying a license plate. When they approached his vehicle and made contact with him, they noticed a bulge under his jacket, and he acknowledged to the officer that he had a weapon. And he was arrested because his concealed carry license was not valid in the state of Oklahoma. So that was the real deal.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Some other I'm just looking at some of the other trivia here to see if there's anything interesting. And I think I pretty much mentioned it all. All right. So who gets your Dark Passenger Award and who gets your Sadie's Donuts Award for this episode?
Donuts is going to LaGuerta, just for doing good police work.
Yeah.
I actually really love LaGuerta, but I'm off and on with her throughout the series, depending on the episode. But I liked her in this one. And then Dark Passenger is going to be fucking Matthews. Like, what a dick. Way to use your tiny appearance in this episode to ruin everyone's day.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give my Sadie's Donut Award to Lorena just because I really enjoyed her.
Good choice.
She just had such a short little appearance, but I really enjoyed her screen time. And I'm gonna give my Dark Passenger Award to to Matthews, definitely.
I also want to pass a cruller to Rita for having to go through what she's going through.
I agree. Lady. I agree. Yeah, and I'll pass a donut to Shonda too for showing up for
excellent choice.
Tony's party. Yeah. It's very nice of her to show up for Tony Tucci's party.